3 by Mark Twain. Enter Gretchen and puts her shawl on a chair, brushing around with the traditional feather duster of the drama, smartly dressed for she is prosperous. Why hat man sich des voorstellen kannen, in nur drei watchen bin ik skan rijk duurden, gets out of her pocket handful after handful of silver, which she piles on the table, and proceeds to repile and count, occasionally ringing or biting a piece to try its quality. Oh das, with a sigh, die Frau Worthin nur uig krank blieb, dies edlen jungen Männer, sei sind ja so liebenswürdig, und so flessig, und so true, jeden Morgen kamen sei geredem drei Viertel auf noon, und plaudern und schwatzen und plappern und schnattern, die jungen Damen auch, Schlägzwolf nehmen sei Abscheid, Sklage eins kamen sei skan wieder, und plaudern und schwatzen und plappern und schnattern, geredem setzuer nehmen sei wiederum Abscheid, halbicht keren sei nachemals Zurück und plaudern und schwatzen und plappern und schnattern bis 10 Uhr, oder vielleicht ein Viertel nach, falls ihre Uhren nach gehen und stets gehen sei nach am Ende des Besuchs, aber stets vor Beginn desselben, und sie willen unterhalten sich die jungen Leute beim Spazieren gehen, und jeden Sonntag gehen sei dreimal in die Kirche, und immer plaudern sei, und schwatzen und plappern, und schnattern bis ihnen die Zahn aus dem Mund fallen, und ich, durch Mangel und Übung, ist mir die Zunge mit Mus belegt worden, freilich ist's mir ein Dummsei gewesen, aber Gottes Willen was jät des mir an, was soll ich daraus Mädchen, taglich sagt die Frau Worthin, Gretchen, dumb show of paying a piece of money into her hand, du bist ein der besten Sprach, Lehrerin in der Welt, act Gott, taglich sagen die edlen jungen Männer, Gretchen liebs kind, money paying again in dumb show 3 coins, bleib tob blind tot, so bleib ich, Jetzt word is ungefähr 9 Uhr sein, bald kommen sei vom Spaziergehen Zurück. Also is wer gut das ich meinem eigenen Schatz einen Besuch abstat und spazieren gehe. Dans her Shawl, exit L. Enter Worthin, R. Worthin, that was Mr. Stephenson's train that just came in. Evidently the girls are out walking with Gretchen, can't find them and she doesn't seem to be around. A ring at the door, that's him, I go see. Exit R. Enter Stephenson and Worthin, R. Well, how does sickness seem to agree with you? Worthin, so well that I've never been out of my room since, till I heard your train come in. Thou miracle of fidelity, now I argue from that the new plan is working. Worthin, working. Mr. Stephenson, you never saw anything like it in the whole course of your life. It's absolutely wonderful the way it works. Succeeds, no you don't mean it. Worthin, indeed I do mean it. I tell you, Mr. Stephenson, that plan was just an inspiration, that's what it was. You could teach a cat German by it. Dear me, this is noble news, tell me about it. Worthin, well it's all Gretchen, every bit of it. I told you she was a jewel. And then the sagacity of that child, why I never dreamed it was in her. She, never you ask the young ladies a question, never let on, just keep mum, leave the whole thing to me, she. Good, and she justified 999 she. Worthin, well sir, the amount of German gabble that child crammed into those 2 girls inside the next 48 hours, well I was satisfied, so I've never asked a question, never wanted to ask any. Chapter 1. We just lain curled up there happy, the little dears, they flitted in to see me a moment, every morning and noon and supper time, and as sure as I 1,000 sitting here, inside of 6 days they were clattering German to me like a house afire. Splendid, splendid. Worthin, of course it ain't grammatical, the inventor of the language can't talk grammatical, if the dative didn't fetch him the accusative would, but it's German all the same and don't you forget it. Go on, this is delicious news. Worthin, Gretchen she says to me at the start, never you mind about company for she, 1,000 company enough, and I says, all right, fix it your own way child, and that she was right is shown by the fact that to this day they don't care a straw for any company but hers. Dear me, why it's admirable. Worthin, well I should think so, they just dote on that hussy, can't seem to get enough of her. Gretchen tells me so herself, and the care she takes of them, she tells me that every time there's a moonlight night she coaxes them out for a walk, and if a body can believe her, she actually bullies them off to church 3 times every Sunday. Why the little dev missionary, really she's a genius. Worthin, she's a bud I tell you, dear me how she's brought those girls' health up, cheeks, just roses, gait, They walk on watch springs and happy. By the bliss in their eyes you 500 think they're in paradise. Ah, that Gretchen, just you imagine are trying to achieve these marvels. You're right every time. Those girls, why all they 500 have wanted to know was what we wanted done, and then they wouldn't have done it. The mischievous young rascals. Worthin, don't tell me. Bless you, I found that out early when I was bossing. Well, I 1999 immensely pleased. Now fetch them down. I 1000 not afraid now, they won't want to go home. Worthin, home, I don't believe you could drag them away from Gretchen with 9 span of horses. But if you want to see them, put on your hat and come along, they're out somewhere trapsing along with Gretchen. Going. SI 1000 with you, lead on. Worthin, we 100 go out the side door, it's towards the Anlager. Exit both, L. Enter George and Margaret. Her head lies upon his shoulder, his arm is about her waist, they are steeped in sentiment. Chapter 1000, turning a fond face up at him, du Angel. Geo liebste. Chapter 1000, das Liedchen das du mir geübt hast, es ist so skan, so wunderskan, why hat ich gegehnt dass du ein Poet wärest. Geo mein Schatzchen, es ist mir lieb wenn dir die Kleinigkeit gefällt. Chapter 1000, es ist mit der zartlichsten Musik gefüllt, klingt ja so sus und selig, why das Flustern des Sommerwinds dir Bänderung hindurch, wieder thuest, sags wieder. Geo, du bist wie ein Bloom, so skan und hold und rein ich schau ditchen, und weymouth schleicht mir ins Hers heinin. Mir ist als ob ich die Hand aufs Hop dir Legend salt, betend das Gott dich erhalt, so rein und skan und hold. Chapter 1000, dumbshow sentimentalisms, Georgie. Geo Kindchen. Chapter 1000, Warm Common sei nicht. Geo das weiss ich gar nicht, sei wern. Chapter 1000, Word spat were mussen sei entraben, calm. Geo, ich glaub sei werden recht bald ankommen aber, exit both. Chapter 50. Enter Gretchen in a state of mind, slumps into a chair limp with despair. Ach was word jetstos mir worden, zufällig heb ich in der fern den verdammten Papa Jessehen, und die Frau Worthin auch, dies Erscheinung die hat mir beinahe das Leben genommen. Sei suchen die jungen Damen, des weiß ich, wenn sei dies und die jungen Herren zusammen fanden, du heiliger Gott, wenn des Gescheit wären were elegans und gar verloren, ich muss sei gleich finden und ihr ein Warnung geben. Exit, L. Enter Annie and Will, posed like the former couple and sentimental. Ich lieb dich skan so sehr, deiner edlen Nater wedgen, dass du da so auch ein Dichter bist, ach mein Leben ist übermassig reich geworden, hat sich doch einbilden können, dass ich einen Mann zu einem so wunderschönen Gedicht hat begeistern können. Liebst, es ist nur ein Kleinigkeit. Nein, es ist ein Ex-Wunder, sag es noch einmal, ich flehe dich an. Du bist wie ein Bloom, so skan und hold und rein, ich schau dich an, und weymouth schleicht mir ins Hers heinin. Mir ist als ob ich die Hand aufs Hop dir Legend salt, betend das Gott dich erholt, so rein und skan und hold. Ach es ist himmlisch einfach himmlisch, kiss, schreibt auch George Gedicht. Jas willen. Why skan. Aside, smouchism same as I do, it was a noble good idea to play that little thing on her. George wouldn't ever think of that, somehow he never had any invention. Arranging chairs, jetzt will ich bei dir sitzen bleiben undo. They sit, ja und ich. Du wirst mir die alt Geskicht, immer nu bleibt, nach wieder erzählen. Zum Beispiel, das ich dich lieb. Wieder. Ich sei kommen. Enter George and Margaret. Das macht nichts. Forten, George unties M's bonnet, she reties his cravat, interspersings of love pats etc. and dumb show of love quarrelings. Ich lieb dich. Ach noch einmal. Ich heb dich warm Herzen lieb. Ach abermals. Bist du denn noch nicht satt? Nein, the other couple sit down and Margaret begins a retying of the cravat. Enter the Worthin and Stephenson, he imposing silence with a sign. Mich 100 sayer, ik verhunger. Wo do arms kind, lays her head on his shoulder, dumb show between Stephenson and Worthin. Und 100 is nicht mich, du hast mir nicht einmal gesagt. A das ich dich lieb, mein eigener. Frau Worthin threatens to faint is supported by Stephenson. Hor mich nuren, ich lieb dich, ich lieb dich. Enter Gretchen. Gr tears her hair, oh das ich in der Hall wear. Chapter 1000. Ich lieb dich, ich lieb dich. Ah, ich bin so glücklich, dass ich nicht schlafen kann, nicht lesen kann, nicht reden kann, nicht. Und ich bin auch so glücklich, dass ich nicht speisen kann, nicht studieren, arbeiten, denken, schreiben. To Worthin aside. Oh, there isn't any mistake about it, Gretchen's just a rattling teacher. Worthin, to Stephenson aside. I 100 skin her alive when I get my hands on her. Chapter 1000. Calm alle verliebt. They jump up, join hands and sing in chorus, du why ich dich lieb, du liebest auch mich, die zartlichsten tribe. Stepping forward. Well, the girls throw themselves upon his neck with enthusiasm. The girls, why father? My darlings. The young men hesitate a moment, they then add their embrace, flinging themselves on Stephenson's neck, along with the girls. The young men, why father? Struggling, oh come, this is too thin, too quick I mean. Let go, you rascals. Geo, we 100 never let go till you put us on the family list. Chapter 1000, right, hold to him. Cling to him, Will. Gretchen rushes in and joins the general embrace but is snatched away by the Worthin, crushed up against the wall and threatened with destruction. Suffocating, all right, have it your own way, you quartet of swindlers. He's a darling, 3 cheers for Papa. Everybody, except Stephenson, who bows with hand on heart, hip, 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 hurrah, hurrah, hurrah. Gr der Tiger, ich. Worthin, say ruhig, you hussy. Well, I've lost a couple of precious daughters, but I've gained a couple of precious scamps to fill up the gap with, so it's all right. Chapter 1, 1000 satisfied and everybody's forgiven, with Mark threats at Gretchen. Were werden für dich sorgen, der herrliches Gretchen. Gr Denkskan. Chapter 1000. To Worthin. Und für sie auch, denn wenn sie nicht so freundlich gewesen wären, krank zu werden, why wären je so glücklich geworden, why jetzt? Worthin, well dear, I was kind but I didn't mean it, but I ain't sorry, not one bit that I ain't. Tableau. Come now, the situation is full of hope, and grace and tender sentiment. If I had in the least poetic gift, I know I could improvise under such an inspiration. Each girl nudges her sweetheart. Something worthy too, is there no poet among us? Each youth turns solemnly his back upon the other, and raises his hands in benediction over his sweetheart's bowed head. Both youths at once. Mir ist als ob ich die Hand aufs Haupt dir legend salt. They turn and look reproachfully at each other. The girls contemplate them with injured surprise. Reflectively, I think I've heard that before somewhere. Worthin, aside, why the very cats in Germany know it. Curtain. 1. Explanatory. I regard the idea of this play as a valuable invention. I call it the patent universally applicable automatically adjustable language drama. This indicates that it is adjustable to any tongue, and performable in any tongue. The English portions of the play are to remain just as they are, permanently, but you change the foreign portions to any language you please at will. Do you see, you at once have the same old play in a new tongue, and you can keep changing it from language to language until your private theatrical pupils have become glib and at home in the speech of all nations. Zum Beispiel, suppose we wish to adjust the play to the French tongue. First, we give Mrs. Blumenthal and Gretchen French names. Next, we knock the German Meisterschaft sentences out of the first scene and replace them with sentences from the French Meisterschaft, like this, for instance. G. Vaudrey's faire des implets si matin, voulez-vous avoir 50 obligeants de venir avec moi chez le tailleur francaise, and so on. Wherever you find German, replace it with French, leaving the English parts undisturbed. When you come to the long conversation in the second act, turn to any pamphlet of your French Meisterschaft, and shovel in as much French talk on any subject as will fill up the gaps left by the expunged German. Example, page 423, French Meisterschaft. On dirt 49 Varfair show, J.I. show, J.I. extremement show, arc 49 fate show, 49 fate un chaleur edufante, 50 air est brûlant, G mours de chaleur, 49 est presque impossible de supporter la chaleur, cela vous fait transpirer, met snoozer 50 amber, 49 fate du vent, 49 fate un vent Freud, 49 fate un très agréable pour si promener aujourd'hui, and so on all the way through. It is very easy to adjust the play to any desired language. Anybody can do it.